this video, I'm going to be showing you how to crochet these very sweet little puff squares. They work up incredibly quickly, and I'm also going to show you how you can join them as you go, so there is no sewing involved. The beauty of these little tiny squares is that they are fully reversible. So this is the front and this is the back. It's very hard to tell which is which once you have sewn in all your ends and joined these little squares. To begin, we're going to start with a magic ring, chain 1, and then work 1 single crochet into the ring. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to work a puff stitch into the magic ring. The trick to a good puff stitch is to remain nice and loose and relaxed. You want to pull your loops up as tall as you possibly can and just relax. If you are tense and you keep everything really low and tight, you're going to have very small, angry little bumps rather than nice, squishy, languid puff stitches. So keeping everything nice and loose and relaxed, we're going to yarn over, go into that magic ring and drop a loop. Now you want to bring that loop up as tall as you can, nice and tall. Then again, yarn over and go back into that magic ring and drop a loop, nice and tall. Then again, yarn over, go into the magic ring and pull up a loop, nice and tall. Then for a 4th time, yarn over, go into the magic ring, pull up a loop, keeping it all nice and tall, nice and loose. And then one more time for a 5th time, we're going to yarn over, go into the magic ring and draw up a loop. You will have 11 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Once you have your 11 loops on your hook, we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through the first 10 loops only. So you want to leave this very last loop still on your hook. Rotate your hook down so that you don't catch the loops on the way through, and you want to pull through all bar 1 loop. You'll have 2 loops left on your hook. To complete your puff stitch, we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You should have a nice, squishy, bouncy, fat puff stitch. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to slip stitch into your puff stitch. So if you pull the top of your puff stitch apart, you can see that little tiny hole just in the top of it there. Into that little gap at the top of the puff, work a slip stitch. So just stick your hook in, yarn over, come through the puff and through the loop on your hook. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work a single crochet back into your magic ring. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make that puff stitch again. So we're going to yarn over and drop a loop through the magic ring 5 times in total. So yarn over, go into the ring, drop a loop. Nice and tall, keep it nice and loose. That was once. Again, yarn over, into the ring, pull up a loop. That was twice. Again, yarn over, go into the ring and draw up a loop. 3 times, yarn over, go back into that ring and draw up a loop. Keep it nice and tall. 4 times, and for a 5th and final time, yarn over, go into that ring, draw up a loop, keeping it up nice and tall. You will have 11 loops on your hook. Now we're going to yarn over and to pull through all bar that very first loop, the loop nearest the handle, nearest your hand. We're not pulling through that one. We're going to pull through the first 10 only. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. To complete your puff stitch, yarn over and pull through both those loops. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into that little gap at the top of the puff stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet back into the magic ring. We're going to repeat that again. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Create your puff stitch by yarning over and drawing up a loop 5 times. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then yarn over and pull through all bar the first loop on your hook. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 10 loops only. Then you'll have 2 loops on your hook. To complete your puff, yarn over and pull through both those loops. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into that little tiny gap at the top of your puff. Chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet back into the magic ring. We just have 1 more of these little puff stitches to make. So chain 3, and then make your puff stitch into that magic ring by yarning over and drawing up a loop 5 times. Once you have 11 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through the first 10. Then yarn over and pull through those final 2 loops. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the top of your little puff stitch, that little tiny hole at the top of it. And then to finish, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of the very first single crochet that you made. So just under both loops of that stitch, work a slip stitch, then chain 1, leave a nice tail so you have a length to weave in, and cut your yarn. Then pull that up, out, pull it tight, and then at the back, pull your magic ring nice and tight. You want to pull it till it snicks closed. Then flip it over, and we need to weave in both these ends. So grab a large eye darning needle. We're going to weave in the end that we just cut first. So pop that onto your needle. So this is the front, this is the back. If you want to leave your magic ring tail until the end so you can identify the front and the back, that is fine. It's just important to weave in this end, particularly now, because it will be difficult later. Once you have joined your little squares together, this can get really fiddly. So we're just going to take our needle, pick up a couple of loops from those stitches that you just made, so into that single crochet there at the back, draw it down. By pulling it down tight, brings it into that cute little square shape. And then I'm going to take this end and I'm going to run it around in between these puff stitches. So at the base of these puff stitches, I'm just going to take this tail and I'm going through the puffs, but I'm not coming out on the other side, just going through the center of these puff stitches. And I'm going to run it around under the single crochet, under those puff stitches, just going around the base. Coming back out to where I started, and then you can snip off, pull it nice and snug, Snip off that end, but be careful that you do not cut the tail from your magic ring. And when you want to weave in your magic ring, and you absolutely have to weave in this tail, otherwise eventually this ring will open and all your hard work will be for nothing. When you weave this in, be it now or at the end, you are going to do the same thing with this tail. You're going to run it around in the same direction through those stitches, just as you did that last one. You can go around once or twice, make sure it's nice and secure, and then snip it off. Now you have a couple of options. You can make a whole load of these and you can sew them together at the end, or alternatively, if you want to do what I did for my sample piece here, I used a join as you go technique, exactly as you would for a full-size granny square, but I'll show you how to do that now, which points we join. So when making your next little square, you're going to start in exactly the same way as you just made your first one, and we're going to complete one puff in its entirety. So single crochet, chain 3, create your puff stitch, chain 3, slip stitch to that little gap at the top of your puff stitch, chain 3, and single crochet into the ring. So we always want to start with one complete little puff section. We'll do our joining on the second. So we can go ahead and make our puff stitch itself. So the second one. So I'm going to chain 3, make my puff stitch. And once your puff stitch is complete, stop. So once you have completed your puff stitch, just as when doing join as you go for a granny square, we will be substituting one chain for a slip stitch, and we join on these little chain 3 peaks above the puff stitch themselves. So on your square that you want to join to, you want to find on top of the puff your little chain 3 space right in these little corners. These are the areas we're going to be joining to. So you're going to chain 1, then pick up your little puff square that you're joining to. And we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 above at the top of your puff stitch. So just slip stitch in there. I just put my hook in from front to back, yarn over, come through. I've joined with a slip stitch, then chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of the puff for the little square that you're working on. Chain 3 and single crochet back into the magic ring. So we've joined at 1 point, we want to join at 2. So chain 3 and work your puff stitch. And then chain 1, find the corresponding chain 3 space above the puff on the square you want to join to. We're going to go from the front to the back, yarn over, and come through and just do a little slip stitch. We've joined at 2 points, then chain 1, slip stitch into the top of that puff, chain 3, and single crochet into the magic ring. So now securely joined along the side. Then finish up the square that you're currently working on. And to do that, we're just going to chain 3, work our puff stitch, chain 3 and slip stitch back into the top of that puff, chain 3 and slip stitch to that very first single crochet that you made. Then chain 1, cut your yarn, pull that all the way up, out and tight, and pull your magic ring closed at the back. And again, weave in this, especially this cut end. I'm only telling you to do it now because when you have joined a whole load of them, you'll have tails hanging on both sides and it'll be an absolute nightmare. So if you only want to weave in just this one for now, this is the important one. You want to weave this one in at the back, and then later on you can deal with your magic ring tails if you so wish. So that is how you join 2. And now, just like for a granny square join as you go blanket, we do something a little different in the middle. So rather than joining just side by side, when you meet a point where they are joining in the center, we join diagonally. So if you're on an outside edge, you only need to join with the 2 like this, and in the center we join diagonally. So I'll show you exactly how you do that now. When joining any of the squares, we always join on the second puff that you make. So you can go ahead and start your little squares. So once you have your second puff made, but before you do your chain 3 on the top of it, this is the point at which we're going to join, and I'm going to be joining to this little colorful square here. So this corner is the one I'm going to be joining to. So I'm going to chain 1, find the chain 3 space on the puff I want to join to, hook in the front, yarn over and slip stitch through that chain 3 space. Chain 1, slip stitch into the top of the puff, chain 3 and single crochet into the magic ring. So this is an outside edge, so I'm just doing a direct join. Then go ahead and make your third puff. Now, as we are at a section where we already have 2 joined sides for your squares, we're going to join diagonally. So I'm not going to join to the rainbow colored square. I'm actually going to join diagonally across into the white square. So I'm going to chain 1 and diagonally into the white square, into that chain 3 space. That's where I'm going to work my slip stitch. Then chain 1 and complete your little puff square as normal. So you can see in the center, we join diagonally. We're joining diagonally if there is another square to join to. For joining your next square, we want to go diagonally the other way. So any squares coming this way will be joined diagonally, and any squares coming this way will be joined in the opposite direction. So just as before, you want to start, and we don't start joining until we've made our second puff stitch. So when you are ready to join, we're going to chain 1 and find the outside edge. And so that would be here, and we are going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space of the square next to us. So straight in and slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch into the puff, chain 3, single crochet into the magic ring, then chain 3 and make your next puff stitch. Now this is the point at which we're going to be joining diagonally back to this rainbow square on the first row. So we're going this way and we're just joining diagonally across. So we are going to chain 1, find that chain 3 loop at the top of the puff we want to join to. We're going to go straight in into that chain 3 space, straight out the back, grab that yarn. You want to come back to the front. Oops, try and keep it all on your hook if you can. There we go. Then rotate everything, and you want to pull your work apart so you can clearly see your yarn at the back there. And we're going to do one more chain and slip stitch into the top of that puff. Then chain 3 and single crochet back into the ring. So we join diagonally at any point where already joined squares meet. Wherever you have an outside edge, we just do a direct corner to corner join. Now, as you can see, we still have one corner here flopping around. So we also want to join that one, as this is the last outside edge. If you had more squares already joined along this row, then you would be joining diagonally. So make your last puff. Chain 1, and we're going to join to that last loose corner on the outside edge. Just as we have before, straight into that chain 3 space, grab the yarn at the back, come through and slip stitch, then chain 1, slip stitch into the top of your puff, and because this is your fourth and final puff, to end we just chain 3 and slip stitch to that first single crochet that you made. Then chain 1 and fasten off. So that is how you join these little puff squares as you go. If you are used to making granny squares and doing join as you go method, it's exactly the same process. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please do let me know what you think of these adorable little puff squares down in the comment section. And until next time, happy crocheting. Bye!